This area we used to call the pits, and it was a pit, but it's changed significantly. And this area was used by all the kids in the area to settle disagreements. Not condoning violence of any sort, but kids being kids. Sometimes we had frank exchange of views that often needed to be resolved from a different perspective. And this was the area we used. And I recall my visit here on quite a few occasions. But what was really important is you come to the pits, you have your disagreements, and it finishes on the pits. The moment we walk out the door of the pits, it was done. Um, it wasn't watching over your back or worrying about knife crimes or potential of escalating into life-threatening situations, and that was important. It's a different world these days, and it's quite sad. Football, the beautiful game as we know it today, fast, furious, highly entertaining. Biggest sport in the world. In our game here in England, the professional game is managed by one man in the middle with a team of officials, typically at the very highest level, assistant referees and fourth officials. Those are known as the match official, and the referee being the man in the middle. The PGMOL, which stands for the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, are responsible for employing, training, developing and appointing those match officials to our professional game in this country. So my role at the PGMOL are twofold. One, as an active match official, refereeing in the game, in the professional game, and training to become the very highest level official I can be. And secondly, just to keep an eye out for what that looks like for people that look like me coming through the game and working with the PGMOL and other colleagues within the organization to ensure that there is more involvement from people from black and brown community in the professional game. So the way in which the FA engages the wider footballing family is through committees. You have various committees which the 100 or so members are assigned to, typically 10 members per committee. You have football development, discipline, but you also have refereeing committee to which I'm assigned to. So you've got myself and 10 other colleagues primarily that sit down 4 times a year, look at the FA strategy, policies, initiatives within match officiating specifically, and carry out a due diligent process of check and challenge and ask the executive members what it's in it, what's missing, and what is the desired outcome. And our role on that committee is to ensure that our voices are heard, but also the road of direction of travel in which the FA is going on in that particular avenue, it's fit and right for the game. And as a person who is still an active official and a person who's got very much detailed lived experience of a black and brown official within the game, this has been a game changer for the FA because historically, I'm the first active black member of that committee since its existence for 150 years. My role, or the role which I apply for from the FA, is a National Games Community Representative member, which effectively looking at my expertise, bringing into the game that brings the lenses of black, brown, or mixed heritage officials within football into that sort of strategy to ensure that the views of those communities are represented going forward. Football is an athletic game. We've seen the game get quicker and quicker with the prizes involved get larger and larger over the last few years. The PGMOL came about in 2001 when the Premier League, as a relatively new product then, realised that actually our game needs professionalising. That's match officiating, and PGMOL was created to employ referees. And as a matter of course, over the journey, as the game has got quicker and the prices got larger, the expectations of referee decisions has gotten greater and greater. The average goalkeeper probably covers about 2 kilometers a game, which is understandable given they just go up and down in their goals. Average defender probably about 7k a game. Average midfielder between 10 and 12k a game, and a striker between 5 and 6 kilometers in a game. The referee, depending on the level, can be anything between 10 and 13 kilometers in a game. Yes, granted, they're not making challenges, but actually what they are doing is staying concentrated and getting decisions or making decisions under pressure, irrespective of the fatigue that may come about. But also you have to prepare for every single scenario that the game could bring. You can have a really fast and furious game end to end, or you could have a game that just tippers along. You have to be in a position as a match official going into that game that your body and your fitness level can cope with any eventualities. So part of the outcome of professionalizing the game is to enable match officials to train up to those fitness level expected for professional players. And that is really the training methods that are being implemented at the PGMOL today. Now, I think I have a full diary of training programs, a daily diary of training programs that I have to be adhered to. We have sports science, we have psychologists, we have coaches, we have training centers, we have visits from players, managers to help us understand the game better. We have football insight coaches, all this on a weekly basis, week to week. So in terms of your weekly diary, it's quite a full balanced diet of different aspects of the game that gets onboarded. So there is definitely rigorous training, physical elements to it, but there's also a mental and psychological side to our training that gets onboarded during the course of any given week.
That we go into, we use the masseuse, and you spend the same sort of period of time, and within 2 or 3 days, you just think, I'm still feeling that niggle, I'm still feeling that pain. And I had this conversation with Emma last time. She's like, we have camp every other week, so I miss the Thursday every other week. Actually, I don't use the massages at camp anymore, purely because I've now found my little niche. Yeah, there's a bit of pain, but the reward is quite lasting. And it's like anything really, if you go through that bit of pain, you're likely to reap the rewards a bit longer lasting.
Yes, indeed. And look, there is a recognition that there are different fitness requirements for referees at different levels. So you've got grassroots football, not necessarily no fitness requirement. In fact, go as far as saying it's a good fitness platform for you to get involved in refereeing, because you can get fitter by refereeing, albeit you need to be fit to referee in the first place. But from a health benefits perspective, it's great for everyone to have some form of exercise. And if you're not doing any exercise, refereeing certainly will give you a form of exercise, but also an income. But as you move into the professional game, there starts to be the introduction of fitness protocol, because there is a recognition of the standards that you're officiating at. And the further up you go in the pyramid of football, the harder the fitness test gets, because again, the expectations and the prizes are greater. So that would be the norm. The level within the PGMO that I am operating at this moment in time, and the expectation within the program I'm involved in, is to have FIFA level standards. So everyone within the PGMOL development group program has to twice every year pass a fitness test that is comparable to being a FIFA official. And that is the hardest fitness test in the game to any match official worldwide. If you're trying to be the best referee or operate at the highest level of the game in England, the fitness test standard is expected of that. So you are looking at things like sprint test. A classic example is you've got to do repeated sprints in the test, 6 sprints over a very short period of time. That replicates an end-to-end game of football with a time limit to it. So that's hard. So you have to have built in within your preparation program sprint exercises that mandates not just running techniques, but also mandates strength and power. So your training program has to incorporate power and dynamic movements and sort of sprinting ability, but also endurance becomes second part of the test. You're playing a game for 90 minutes, potentially 120 minutes of football, and there's often back and back, which means you not only need to be quick, but you also need to be relatively robust over a long period of time. So there is an endurance part to the test as well, which you have to meet, and that is a coverage of high intensity running over a 4K distance within 20 minutes. So there is a run recovery system, which is equivalent, in some cases even surpasses the blip test up to a certain level.